Hi, my name is Emma Dawson, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make an apple cake for idiots. We've all been the family disappointment, so why not impress them with this cake that's going to make you look like a star, like straight A student, but better. So first we're gathering all of our ingredients, which is 3 eggs, a cup of oil, a cup of sugar, but we're going to measure that on the go, a cup of brown sugar, make sure it's hard like a bodybuilder's abs when you pack it in, those are always preferable, okay? 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, which we're going to measure on the go, 1 teaspoon of salt, also measured on the go, and again, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, also measured on the go, then 2 cups of flour and 4 apples, which we're going to finely chop, which I'll show you how big they should be in a bit. Alright, so now we're going to chop up our apples, and we want to make sure that it's super small. I mean, not so small, but yeah. So I usually use a bigger knife for this, just makes me feel better about myself, you know, disappointment and all. So take your apple, make sure you don't cut your fingers, and you're just going to maybe cut off the sides. And you're going to want to have pieces that are about this big. And, I don't know, roughly the size of a nickel. And that'll work because the more apples you have, the smaller the pieces, the more evenly it goes in the batter, and the more moist your cake is, and that's always really important. Now that your apples are all chopped, you're going to put your eggs, your olive oil, and then your sugar, in this order, in a bowl and mix it all up. So, we're going to start with the eggs. And they'll look just like this. It's a nice yellow mixture. You won't see any yolk, you won't see any egg white. It's just all one yellow mixture. Alright, now that you're done with your egg beater, you can go ahead and remove it from the bowl. And you're going to add your vegetable oil, 1 cup. Now we have a nice vegetable oil and egg mixture. We can go ahead and add 1 cup of sugar. Bodybuilder abs is how firm you want it, because that's how you should always do your brown sugar. Remember to push your spoon against the sides of the bowl, because you know the brown sugar likes to clump up, and you don't want the clumps in your end result, because you know biting into a piece of cake just hitting all brown sugar, it's not the best taste, unless you're into that. So now that we have our mixture of eggs, vegetable oil, and both types of sugar, we're going to go ahead and add our salt, which is going to be 1 teaspoon. And now we want 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon to add to our mixture. So we're just going to do 3 1/2 teaspoon measurements. Get it all nice. A good way to do this, just put it into your cinnamon container, wipe off the excess. That is 3 teaspoon measurements, or 3 1/2 teaspoon measurements. Alright, now we can mix this up. Oh, nice. Okay, we only need 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, which is pretty good because we only have a 1/2 teaspoon measurement. Trying to measure that out. Scrape. 1/2 teaspoon. Right in. Alright, set that aside. And now we're just going to mix it all up. Alright, now that we've done that, we can go ahead and add our flour. So our flour is what's going to make it have more volume to the cake. It's going to help it expand, along with the salt, baking soda. So we're going to add this about a cup at a time, roughly. You just don't want to have it all at once because it makes it really hard to stir at first, and it's just not that manageable. So that is about a cup. Now we are going to mix it in. the last step for our mixture is adding our apples. So we're just gonna throw them all in, because why not? Maybe not all, but I'm just gonna mix them in. So now that our mixture is done, we have to prep our pan, and what we're doing is basically making a kind of crust for our cake. So we're gonna take this pan, it's a 13 by 9, and what I've already done is I've coated it with butter. Just take a stick and just evenly coat it all, make sure all edges are covered. Then, in this small bowl, I took 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and you can do more or less, it depends on how big your pan is. If you're cutting this recipe in half, definitely use less, and if you really want a thick crust on there, probably use more. But I'm going to take this and I'm just going to dump it in here, and then I'm just going to move it around, shake it. Now that all our manual labor is done, because we have a nice crust, it's not even, but it doesn't really have to be. I think the cake itself makes up for that. We're just going to take our batter, we're just going to pour it into the pan, just one normally would for like brownies or any other sort of recipe. So now that we have this ready, we're going to put it in the oven on 350 degrees for 1 hour. Now pay attention to the clock because there is a glaze that's going to take just a little bit of time to make, and you want to make it whenever you're 50 minutes into the cake baking. So our cake is about 5 to 10 minutes away from being finished, so now we're going to make our glaze. The glaze is going to finish off the top of the cake, it's going to make it really nice, going to make it taste better. So, half cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk, and we need 2 tablespoons of butter. So, we're just going to mix it all up, and you're going to want this to boil. And boiling means that there's a lot of bubbles, and it's going to be like a caramel sauce to finish it off. So, if it's all melted, it's going to melt, it's going to boil, and then you're wanting it to boil for 1 minute. And when it's boiled for 1 minute, your cake will hopefully be done by that point. And you're going to pour it all over your cake. So it's been overnight, or maybe just a few hours for you, but now we finally have our cake. So throughout this, I've shown you how to make your batter, how to pour it in the pan and prep your pan, bake it, and then make your glaze to pour all over your cake, which adds a really nice finish. So go show this to your family. Maybe you're not the disappointment anymore. Maybe it's your sibling.